Igbo kwezuonu. Yeah. Koko nyamili, nyamili. Koko nyamili, nyamili. Koko nyamili, nyamili. Koko nyamili, nyamili. Igbole, Igbo bunu ndamamihe. Igbole, Igbo bunu ndamamihe. Ebulianyelu, anamabara na ihe dị njọ ma na-emezi konye ofeke. Anamabara nọ n'ihe dị njọ ma na-emezi konye ofeke. Igbo bụ n'ndike, ụmụ Igbo bụ n'ndike. Igbo bụ n'ndike, ụmụ Igbo bụ n'ndike. Koko nyamini, nyamini. Koko nyamini, nyamini. Koko nyamini, nyamini. Koko nyamini, nyamini. Hey, cha 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 cha. Igbo kwezuonu. Yeah. Igbo kwezuonu. Yeah. Ihe ji mara ndị emihe bụ ọrụ aka ha. Ihe ji mara ndị emihe bụ ihe aka ha. Ihe ji mara ndị emihe bụ ọrụ aka ha. Ụmụ Igbo anyị nwere omenala dowe n'azụ, were omenala ndị ọzọ bulie elu. Anyị nwere omenala Igbo dowe n'azụ, were omenala ndị ọzọ bulie elu. Ihe anyị na-eme Chineke na ọ dịrọzi mma. Ihe anyị na-eme Chineke ọ dịrọ mma. Ihe anyị na-eme Chineke na ọ dịrọzi mma. Good morning, and ndewo. Ebe ọbụla nọ ka ọ bụrụ si mama. Ana m ekele unu ụtụtụ niile dịrị Chineke. Another day. What a blessing. Ama na onwe ndị ahụ ghọta. There are many people who didn't see this day. But anyị nwa ka Chineke ghọtara sị anyị tosiri nọ ndụ. Ọrụ anyị na-aga ịrụ dị ukwuu. Ọ ya mere anyị ji ka nọ ebe a. The work that we have to do is so much. And that is why the Creator, Obasidielu, Ubangiji, Olodumare, Tamona, Jinyame, Nobulunda na-akpọ Chineke, jesina anyị nwa ga-anọ ya. No matter what you call the Creator. Chineke says you're supposed to be here. You got work to do. And that's why we're here. Welcome to all of you. I'm Dr. Wanyo Hosimiri. It is my pleasure and my honor to host another episode. You see, any day that I'm able to do this, that means that I've completed the work that needs to be done for that day. So day one. As you well know, this forum presents us with the opportunity to have conversations on so many different topics, but with a focus on their spiritual implications on the African world. I want to, before we get into the I invite members of the forum today, presenters today. I just want to offer this quick prayer. Ụbọchị anyị Chineke biko ka ọ bụrụ ihe. Ihe ọbụla niile anyị kpọtara aka Chineke taa biko ka ọ bụrụ nọọsọ mma. Ka ụwa niile site n'aka anyị hụ ihe ma ụtụtụ ma okere ma abalị ma anyasị. Mgbe ọbụla anyị gaa n'ifu ntọ dịrị anyị mma, anyị aga azụ dịrị anyị mma. Ibe ọbụla anyị jekwa ife ọbụla anyị kpatara aka ogu nzu. We go forward, we go backwards. Whatever it is we're doing, whatever it is we touch. Nike Chineke. Because of the power of God as within us, everything will become a reality. More water or wurechi, more wurechi or bro but God knows our heart. We are Chiis. And to be a Chiis means that you're a loving and caring human being. And for those of us who don't understand what that means, touch our hearts. For those of us who don't understand what it means to be a Chiist, that it means that you have to be noble to your elders, noble to your community, noble to the children, noble to humanity. Treat people with dignity. Treat them the way you want to be treated. When you're a Chiis, you cannot make it a duty to take away what belongs to others from them. No matter how much power you wield, Chineke, some of these leaders, we want you to bring their hearts down, teach them that there is no honor in subjugating anybody to a less status than another. No matter where you are today, we ask for nothing but goodness for you. For those of you whose legs are hurting today, we're going to do an exercise. We ask Chineke to touch your legs. Touch your legs so that you can walk if you're not able to walk. The cricket in your knees may disappear. Your thighs, may it work. May the pain go away. Ma fogi, mo bigi, ma kagi, mi sigi, ma nyagi. No matter what part of your body is hurting, we ask Chineke to put her hands on you so that you will be healed. Remember that what you seek is what you shall get, what you shall have. We ask for the ancestors to pay attention to what we're doing. Talk down the naysayers, those who are lost mentally, those who have no sense, those who refuse to have sense even when it's offered them. The intervention is necessary now. The world is in turmoil. So I know yogi Chineke biko. Batwanyaka, Ninayaka, Todiraima, Mata, Michi, Ise, Henila Kainario, Yagazie. I had to do that. Ise. Yudi, I'm going to bring my co-hosts in now. Yudi Ochwaja. Dibia Chiezo. Aye kelekwago.
Only to Rumafa now. My day is made. And by the way, congratulations on the award yesterday.
I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
That was absolutely beautiful. The speech, everything was banging. We're about to, do some great things. And we in Chiism, we're just so grateful that you're within our, in our midst and navigating this ship. And together, we all will get to the promised land, which is to emancipate the African mind and understand that there's never been anything wrong with us. We are what God made us. We are what we are by the grace of Almighty Chineke, and whoever don't like it, oh, well, too bad. Everybody's doing them.
Yes.
So we owe it to ourselves to do us. So once again, congratulations. Great prayer this morning. Now let's go get it.
Thank you. And now I would like to add Dr. Simonas. How are you, Monet? Kedu.
How you doing?
You have to learn an African word today. Kedu.
Yes.
So you have to say Odemma. You have to mute yourself.
Congratulations on the award and everything. And I'm so happy to see everyone today.
How you doing, Doctor? Good morning.
Very good. Good morning.
Yes.
Here is what is so and I just wanted to share this because you were not able to be there. That is the Her Story Award, and it's the Women Federation for World Peace. And I'm very excited about it, that nomination. And also, that just want to announce that I'm now the president for the chapter here in Georgia. So we have a lot of work to do, a lot of connecting different people.
Yes, we go.
Thank
Come
you.
on,
Oh, yeah,
bring it on.
yeah. And so, and I just want to thank those who were able to attend. Obi Pierce, she said she couldn't be with us today because of she's buying a home, so she's out home hunting. That's a joyful thing to be doing, as you well know. Then Dibia Chiezo Yudi was there. Madia Onyoha was there. Adora Osimiri was there. Namdi Osimiri, Keleno Osimiri, Akachi Azubike, Sandra Beasley, Dr. Mani Mayat, Brooke Baxter, and then some people who came from Facebook that I didn't know. But that support was so appreciated. So I just want to thank all of you for being there. We've got things to do. There'll be many more awards for all of us.
Yes.
All of us.
Yes.
All of us.
Absolutely.
And I want you to put the second Sunday of September is the Ultra International Conference. I am going to post it. Get ready. It's going to be the conference. That is the Chiism conference under the umbrella of Ultra, Organization of Traditional Religions of Africa. I am going to have that posted for next Sunday. So you guys, second Sunday in September, write it down. You do not want to miss that show. It's going to be an event, and it's going to be something that's in support of us. So thank you, and thank you for the congratulations I'm getting from you all. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I want you to know that. So today we are going to get started. This is part of our a lecture series, and Dr. Chiezo is supposed to be here, but while we're waiting for him, I just want to add a few little. I want to ask you a question, something somebody presented to me, and I thought, I thought they meant well. They meant well, but I'm not so sure how to react to it. Somebody said to me that I am an Nkoro daughter and that we are so proud of you. How I wish you were a man so that you can replicate your father.
What? Say that again. What did you say?
He said, you are an Nkoro daughter and we're so proud of you. But how I wish you were a man so that you can replicate your father.
Well, I'm not gonna jump the gun and get try to choke the guy out, because if you look at it from the surface, you will probably leap right through this screen and start searching the internet for his picture, so you could download it and rip it into shreds. So I'm gonna assume that he's not that how do you say, chauvinist. Maybe he's just missing right? He can't be talking about his mental acumen and the fact that that kind of mental acumen is represented in a woman. So because it's represented in a woman, then it's inadequate. As if a man can't live through his daughter or his daughters, right?
Yeah.
As if you can only live or sustain your legacy through a male because you're male.
Yeah.
You understand? But we know in history it's never worked that way. And I will take the monarchy in Britain. Queen Elizabeth has been a monarch for what, 70 years, 6-7 years?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Just because she's a female didn't make her inadequate where she couldn't rule England. A woman can be a queen. A queen has the same power as a king. An empress has the same power as an emperor. Head of household is head of household, male or female. Depends on who's paying the bills. So I'm just going to assume that you heard from somebody who's totally ignorant, or he's fantasizing about the fact that Ahai is not present physically and would like to see Ahai present physically. I hate to think that he thinks that what a woman does, regardless of even if the best that they're dead, even if you did more than Ahai has done. If Jesus Christ had a daughter and his daughter did more than Jesus did, but it's inadequate because the daughter is not male. The woman's contribution is not significant. Civilizations have not been led and built by women. You're assuming that women leave no legacies. Women don't contribute to anything. Women are second-class citizens. You're assuming that life can only exist from a male perspective. In other words, two men can get together and have a child. You minimize the importance of the female. Without the female, there's no male, there's no you. It's 50-50. That's the way life is.
Yeah.
That's the way God made it. Unless you're an amoeba or a paramecium, a single-celled organism, which you can't even see unless you use a microscope to, to study it and see it. Life is about this duality of existence.
That's right.
Male and female is as real as life and death.
Yeah.
It's as real as day and night. Without daylight, there will be no life. Without night, there will be no life. If it's night all the time, nothing will exist. If it's daytime all the time, nothing will exist. Out of darkness came light. So it's just like also telling me that no human race has meaning except for a specific race. God has made a mistake. If God was perfect, like we claim that Chineke is, we should all be male. No, that's an insult to his own. It's not an insult to you. It's an insult to his own mental competence. He has no knowledge of how life works. He has no knowledge of creation. He's not a spiritual person. He understands nothing. So take no offense. You are just dealing with a totally ignorant human being.
And he comes from a community. He comes from a community where we say Aratsa Iku Alene. It comes from a community that the child is from.
It's
where
metrical.
The mother is from.
We're metrical. It's metrical.
Yeah.
It's metrical.
So they say that, because everything is based on land ownership. To make sure that the land belongs to this family, we need to know who the mother is. Because you're certain who the mother is. You're not always certain who the father is. That's the philosophy back there. So when somebody says that to you, you say, oh my God, okay, you don't even understand the community. The culture of the community you're from. Dr. Simona, your thoughts?
Yes. First of all, I would just like to give thanks to the Chineke and also my ancestors and you, Your Excellency, and congratulations. I apologize for not being able to be there. I just absolutely could not be there and wish that I could have been there. I would have been there if I could have. And I would like to also just, and thank you, Uncle, too. You are my, you two, all of you on the Guardian, with the Guardian Church are my mentors, you're my teachers. And I just thank you for the knowledge that you bring forth as my elders. And like the Nigerian way, if I was there, I would bow down to you because of all of the great things that you are doing for the community. I give you all honor and respect for that and the knowledge that you're bringing forth. And what comes to me is, we have to understand that just living on this living on the earth realm is the divine feminine. And a lot of problems that we have is because we're disconnected from the mother. We have no respect for the mother. And that is and that's reflected, you know, in our society. When you turn on the TV, and even I was disheartened because I was even watching a Nigerian movie, and it was a great movie, but they took out the honor to the elders. I didn't see any honor to the elders. Kids are talking back and things like that, and it's almost like, because where we learned this is this is a European way. It's a European way that has been given to us, that the woman is the lesser, and you know, this is just not true. It's not true, and it is hurting us.
That's right.
And in reflection of our planet, when you look at our planet, and my dear mother-in-law was initiated into Oshun, and also, you know, so, you know, as far as Mami River, so the African cultures, the African gives homage to the divine feminine. And so he has to understand that just like you give homage and you give respect and you give honor to the divine feminine, you also must give respect, and I mean to the masculine. I'm sorry. You must also give respect to the divine feminine, which is Chineke. And so when you do not give honor to the divine feminine, you are disrespecting Chineke, because Chineke is part of the divine feminine. And we must understand that. This earth where we live every day, the great mother is giving life to us. If we do not have food that grows, if we do not have water, if we do not have the things that sustain life, we will not be able to exist here on this planet. If you, even if you're a person that's outside of religion, understands that we need the food that grows from the land, the things that are on this earth to sustain us. And so we have to give honor to the great mother, because just like, you know, the mother, women are reflections of the great divine mother. You know, we feed our kids, we're able to produce milk to sustain and keep our children alive. When we birth our babies, that's how we're able to keep our children alive. And the great mother is keeping us alive every day.
And Dr. Monet, when you don't have Similac, when you don't have all of those store-bought things, mama's got what the baby needs.
Absolutely.
Okay? Up until 1 year old, even beyond.
Absolutely.
As long as the mother's healthy, that baby gets milk.
Yes.
You know, I just want you, before you say this, I want to say, here's the analogy. Akanri, akekpe. Akanri, akekpe. Akanri, kwakan ekpe. Akekpa, kwakanri. When the one hand washes the other, the hand comes out clean. Try washing your hands just doing this. It's not going to be clean.
Yes.
You need both of them rubbing together for your hands to be clean. So we not need to get it in our heads that we need each other. It doesn't diminish a woman to uphold, give a man pride. It doesn't diminish a man to give the woman, be the woman's source of pride. We need each other. But the Eurocentrism,
yes,
that has made it such that now we just despise each other. You know, I've got to look at what's going on with this abortion argument. What is all of this about? What is it that diminishes a man if a woman is in control of her body? Why do you have to dictate that? I mean, you have no idea all the things that are coming up with this. Now the students at school are threatening young girls. I'll just rape you, and I'll just cause you to have to get pregnant. So you see a girl now, you notice one thing. I just want to say this. Notice who's being punished. The woman.
yes,
Who got her pregnant? Who got her pregnant? She didn't get pregnant on her own. So now she's being punished. If she's raped, she's punished. If she's not raped, she's punished. Whatever, she's punished for bearing life. What about the man? Now you got men who are threatening women with rape. And then they will monitor. I I just heard today that now, just so for my sisters out there, if you have a record showing when you ovulate, get rid of it. Now they have access to that. They can ask for that. You cannot even do anything for your health. The doctors are now being forced to give, they are violating HIPAA laws. They can do whatever. So you have to be a weak-minded male. I'm sorry. Yes, I said it. You have to be so miserably weak that you think it's a good thing that you subject a fellow human being to give birth that they are not, they may be forced to take to carry. What is the joy in that? Oh, here's another one, and UD, I'll let you speak. Here's another one. Now they have men on TikTok talking about it's safer to rape older women. They won't get pregnant. But the law comes down hard on the woman, not on the male. This country is going back so far to the point that Canada is asking women to cross the border and come to civilization because it's dark in America now. Now they're talking about taking away schools, segregating schools. Well, I'm not so sure we're losing anything there. It's time that we start educating our children anyway, because there's nothing they're teaching them at these schools now. They're not teaching them about themselves. You can't even talk about Barack Obama as the first Black president. You can't talk about Michelle Obama. You can't talk about anything Black. So what are these kids learning anyway? So Black folks, start your own schools. Good grief. Educate your children. Because there's nothing in these schools that they're trying to chase you away. What is it? So that they will read the Bible every day and every night? What is that? UD, you had something to say. I'm getting off.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I hear these things and I just forget that I'm a priest and I just want to break something, but I'm just going to kind of keep it in control. Before I get to this important guy, I'm just going to touch on a few things you said. We talked about the segregation today. I think you and I talked about it this morning. As a segregation today is not like segregation back in the 50s or 60s or whatever. Because when you segregate now, before we had the water fountain that says whites only and Blacks only. It didn't say Mexicans only. It didn't say Japanese only. Only Black folks were segregated. We were the ones that couldn't drink from that fountain. But I bet you a Mexican drank from a whites only fountain. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, segregation today, if you put that into practice or you make that law, well, it's okay. We can educate our own kids, give them the right kind of education that they want. But at the same time, Mexicans going to have their own schools now. Mm-hmm. Everybody so will the Japanese. You're segregating. People from Thailand, the Chinese, the Indians, anybody who's not white will have their own school. Is that where we're going now? Are we going back to the 50s where it's white and Black, and anybody who's not Black falls on the white? Is that it? Because I never saw whites only, Mexican only, Japanese only, Chinese only. I see Blacks only, whites only. When the Japanese comes into town, where does it drink from? Does it drink from the Blacks only fountain, or does it drink from the whites only fountain? Is it everybody else against them? Or are we truly going to be segregated? That's one question. I'll let him answer that. Secondly, the Christian religion is, in this country, they say separation of church and state. Forget about it. That's a fantasy. All these laws are influenced by the Bible, Christianism. And in Christianism, man was straight with God until Eve ate the apple, even though God never told Eve not to eat that apple. He told Adam. And when he questioned Adam Adam said, well, I was doing fine just by myself until you sent that woman. Christianity blames women for men's shortcomings.
That's right.
The reason why men are violent, the reason why we steal, the reason why men hate, the reason why men start wars, the reason why men are flawed is because God provided woman as his companion. This is the Christian doctrine. That's why most of these laws targets women. And if it doesn't target women, then it targets the other demon, the other boogeyman, race. There's nothing that the European, and I don't care who sees this, everything that the European has acquired, they acquired it through racism and by force. They never negotiated the conditions of any indigenous people. When slavery started, the European didn't come to Africa and ask the African, do you mind if I enslave you? And the African said, hey, go ahead, I'm good with it. They came with the sword and the gun.
Yes.
And they stomped all over your head, raped, pillaged, beheaded, castrated. All manners of evil was perpetrated on us till we were broken, and we're still broken till today. So don't be shocked by these laws. It is just the Christian way of saying that the reason why the world is flawed is because of women. But now they're going to create, hold on, now, they're going to create more issues now with this law.
That's right.
And it's not going to benefit anybody. And my final point to the Mporo guy, there's something called cross-cultural pollination. You borrow things from other cultures and you make it your own. And for us, a lot of things that we borrowed from the European was not voluntary. There's also something called invented tradition. An invented tradition usually is a product of cross-cultural pollination. So you take something, then you turn it into your own tradition so you could fit in with the philosophy of the master. And as the generation goes by, it becomes ingrained in that society.
That's right.
Africans were never patriarchal as a way of doing business.
That's right.
It just depends on where you come from. In Umboro, we're matriarchal. I forgot how you say it. It was matriarchal. Where I come from is where my mother came from. That's how important the woman, the matriarch, was in the society. The world is pregnant. The female holds the female aspect of Chineke.
That's right.
Holds the tree in the ground. The world is pregnant.
Yes.
The female aspect of Chineke holds the oceans and the rivers and the lakes and the ponds in place. Right. The world is pregnant. The fish in the water is in Ane. It is female. The world is pregnant. The sky is part of the world. The world is pregnant. Everything in this world is female oriented. The male only provided the seed. That's it. The woman incubates, produces life. The man does nothing. You know, the male lion in a pride does one thing only and one thing only: protection. If the pride is starving, it's the woman. Yes. If the pride is full, if the belly is full, it's the woman.
Yes.
The woman will nurture and raise the lion cubs till they become adults and part of the pride, or start their own pride. Yes. You cannot minimize the importance of the female aspect of Chineke, because without it, I do not exist. Without it, the world doesn't exist. The universe is female, is pregnant with planets. The Milky Way, the black hole, Jupiter, the sun, Antares, the solar system. Everything in life is in the, it's duality, male and female, chi, male, eke, female. The man is no more important than women. So for African men to run around here thinking that it's a man's world, No, it's not. As a matter of fact, the Uwaezuoke, what we're supposed to be talking about today, kind of deals with what we were just talking about now. The condition of the world is what we make it. The condition of the world in terms of how a society is built and managed is not natural. Your outlook in life, how you treat your fellow human beings, things that you build, your conscience, your level of understanding of what is right and what is wrong is directly related to the morality of a society and its opulence and construction. It is all man-made. So we have to be a little bit careful how we treat one another, how we think about each other, and what opinions we put out there about women or any other race. Because the truth of the matter is, without any one of these components of life, life ceases to exist.
You say, thank you, Yudi. Wonderful, wonderful. I want to clarify something that we said here because I have this comment here. I could not pump during both pregnancies, no matter everything that was done. So it was necessary to have formula to feed my child. Not all of us can breastfeed formula, can breastfeed. So formula should not be knocked or made like it is nothing. That is not the point. That is not the point we're making here. The point is that the women have the capacity when the need arises to sustain life without the manufactured milk, where it is necessarily to have manufactured milk where you can produce regular milk. Of course, but what are you going to do? But I'm just saying that that's how important a woman's body is. A woman is. We can help sustain the life when it comes here naturally. If we're healthy, if we're allowed to, if we eat properly, if we do the right things, we can nurture that child until the child is well over 1 year old. So in other words, that now a woman, if there's no milk, for instance, if you're somewhere and there's no milk to give your child, a woman who has just had a baby can feed your child.
Yes.
Feed hers and feed yours. That's how powerful that woman is. So I think we need to understand it's not about the baby formula. That is important if you can't produce. But then a woman who can produce milk can feed a child where the manufactured milk is not available. That is the point I'm trying to make. Now, there's this other comment here, and then we have to move on. Contraceptions are next to be banned. Let men think it doesn't affect them. They suffer too. My brothers, I got some, we're talking about some black men thinking, well, women shouldn't be having abortions and all that stuff. Heck, the babies who are here, some of you are not even taking care of them.
Yeah.
You're not even taking care of the ones that she wanted to have. Now you're going to make noise about the one she doesn't want? Is that the one you're going to take care of?
It's going to get crazy sooner or later. Be careful what you ask for.
For some of them who abandon the ones who are already here, they're going to abandon that one she doesn't want. And here's the problem with all of this. I don't want to spend all day talking about this, but this is important because that's what everybody is talking about. These children who are unwanted are the ones that are going to suffer. There's no black baby that's going to be born today that you can take to one of those justices' house and say, I've had this baby you want me to have. Here, you raise that child. What do you think will happen to that little black baby? These people are not, these are 6 men, well, 5 men and 1 crazy woman who decided for millions of women in the United States. Who gets this? Because they are justices? So what is the point of being an American citizen who can vote when people who are appointed, these people were appointed, were selected by a president and voted for by the Senate? Think about who's making these rules. You tell the Senate what you're going to do, but when you become a justice, you do something completely different. I am not a Christian. It doesn't mean that I'm saying anything negative about Christians, but this is a Christian rule that's being forced down the throat of every American woman. Because
no separation of church and state.
The Bible said, well, not everybody believes in the Bible. Not everybody reads the Bible. That doesn't mean that the Bible doesn't have something positive that you can glean from. But the point of the matter is, it's all based on religious fallacies, falsities, foolishness. And now we've got women who have to live under the rules of some nonsense. And any man who thinks that this is just a woman's problem, if you have a wife, you better worry about her. She could fall victim. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. And if you have a daughter in school, you better watch her back. Because you have young men in schools bragging about raping your daughters. In Africa, until all this religious nonsense came to us, we respected our women. Men wanted to marry women who were pure. And women loved and respected themselves. We didn't sleep around.
Yes.
We honored our bodies. Our bodies were sacred until they said, put a ring on it. Hey, this is real. Yeah. We didn't sleep around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The men even respected their women. They weren't running around here raping them, but all of a sudden they're doing foolishness that's not part of our culture.
Basketball wives, housewives of Atlanta. What else you have? All these things that just make girls think differently.
That's it. All of that stuff. So anyway, that is a whole different story. That's another day. We've said all this. Dr. Simona, do you want to add anything before we move on?
I would like to add, I do want to address the comment about the woman not being able to breastfeed. For one, I breastfed. I have 4 children. I breastfed all of my children, and my oldest one, she'll be 21 this year. No one was breastfeeding at that time. Everyone was giving their kids Similac. That was the trend at the time. And I was given, not for men, a lot of women gave me slack about breastfeeding. So, recently they're encouraging women to go back to breastfeeding and things like that. The manufacturers of this Similac and everything has made enough money. I guess they think they've, the government is saying, okay, you've made enough money. Now we're going to encourage people to do it the natural way. It's cheaper. But the thing is, just like you were saying, Your Excellency, there is, what we're saying is, just as the earth feeds us, as women, we're able to provide nourishment and keep our children alive when we birth them. And if we're not, there's other women that are. There's actually milk banks that provides milk for women. I know a woman, a friend, very close, adopted her son. He could not take any of the Similac, and there was a woman that we also knew that just had twins, and she was nursing her twins. She provided all of the milk. She pumped extra milk, built her milk up, and provided all of his nourishment, all of everything he needed. She provided the breast milk for him. And so that's what we're saying, is that this is a part of being, a quality that we have. This is how important women are. And it doesn't take away from you not being a woman or a good woman, because there's many reasons that you may not be able to produce milk properly. And part of that is our society. They want to throw you back into work 6 weeks after you have had a baby. That is not natural. You're not prepared to go back to work and go under that stress. And then you're trying to, still take care of a newborn baby. And like they said, pumping the milk, the natural way is not pumping, so that affects a lot of women. That's the one thing. Now, when we talk about, the other thing is, when we talk about segregation, in my opinion, go ahead and segregate us. Because we're already in America segregated in our schools. They do not send, but white children from suburbs are not sent to Black schools, which creates the imbalance in the quality of education. If Bloomfield Hills children, white children, were forced to go to Detroit public schools, they would not be rated a 0. I guarantee you that, because those parents would not allow those schools to go down. They're not going to allow their children to get, a bad education.
Mm-hmm.
And it they'll send black kids to those to white schools, but you never saw the white kids going to black schools. Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're still the system of segregation has still been there to a certain extent when you're dealing with quality education. Now, if you want to segregate us, go ahead. We may be able to be segregated, and this may be the way that we can come up as a community, because
Yes.
other communities have already segregated themselves.
Yes.
I live here. My community is an Arabic community.
Mm-hmm.
They are segregated here.
That's right.
Don't believe that they're not. But I tell you one thing, they get all of the services, all of everything that they need, they have here. Everything they need, they have here. You can have a child that comes from Yemen that does not speak one word of English, and I tell you, they will surpass that child in Detroit, Michigan, that does not know how to read, comes out of high school not knowing how to read, or generations of families not knowing how to read. Why is that? When you're born speaking English, it's because they have they have the resources that come here. They have all of the support. They have come together as a community to make sure that no one is falling on the wayside if they don't want to.
Yeah.
But if we are segregated, see what we have done. What we have done is we want to be a part of what is the whitest right, and we want to be a part of what they have.
Yes.
We don't have to be a part of what they have. That has been our demise.
Yes.
We were building ourselves. The only thing about it was destroy. Segregate us, but don't destroy what we built.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Okay.
Wall Streets that we have built was more Black Wall Streets. Allow us to have our banks so that we're able to get loans for our businesses and all of those different things.
Right.
Allow us, but do not destroy it. Segregate us, but do not destroy it. Plus, stop eating from us. When you segregate us, stop eating from us, and we will take the trillions of dollars that we're spending with other people, and we will bring that in our community. Maybe this will be an opportunity for our community to heal. Maybe we'll have some self-love and self-respect.
Thank you.
It's an opportunity.
Not Cardi B representing our women. And then and women in situations of having to feel like they have to make a decision. Do I have to have an abortion or not? Because you're doing what Cardi B is doing. You're going out having one-night stands, don't know who the father is. Maybe we can, because that is not our community. That is what's represented by a white man that is only putting those depictions of us.
That's right. I want to read it. Thank you. Let's point something out. This is from Nandi. Let's point something out. There are women marching and celebrating this decision as well. That's true. We got sisters out there marching, but I don't know which one of those women will be willing to take these babies when they
Christian sisters, please. Let's just get real with it.
Okay. The 1 to 5% of men in power just made a decision for 100% of women's bodies. They do not understand. And 95 to 99% of men who cannot and will not make that decision for women. I don't have the capacity nor the right to make the decision as to what a woman can do with her body, especially if and when a woman has been raped. But I see more women protesting outside of Planned Parenthood. Can you imagine that? We are our own worst enemy because of that religious nonsense.
Exactly the point. You can't separate it. Separate. See, the problem is we talk about these things as if religion has nothing to do with it. If we were not dealing with the Bible and Christianity right now, we won't be dealing with this law.
That's what it is.
There's no separation of church and state. These laws are not even made by the lawmakers.
No.
There's somebody outside the political view pulling the strings.
That's right.
And then saying, you do what we want you to do, or we will not fund your campaign. We will not vote for you. You will not get into power, and we will threaten your livelihood. A lot of the guys that are ladies that, you know, fight for these crazy causes, half of them don't believe in it. But in the end, they think about their political careers. They think about fundraising.
That's it.
They think about putting money in their coffers, people like Ted Cruz. And in the end, it's like, hey, if they don't care, why should I care?
That's right.
That's pretty much what the bottom line is. And the Democratic Party in the United States are weak. They're weak because they want everybody to love them. They go after causes that have nothing to do with the problems that face the United States. Their Constitution protects rights for everybody.
That's right.
I'm just being real here.
Yes.
I don't want to spend my political time trying to figure out if the cat has a right to marry a dog. If the dog has a right to marry an elephant. I couldn't care less. I'm more interested in how people are treated fairly, and the Constitution guarantees that. But the Democrats spend a lot of time with this overly liberal causes that in the end, they don't pay attention to things that will actually affect people's lives in a very, very negative way. Like the abortion thing we're talking about, the segregation stuff we're talking about that's going to happen in Arizona, blah, 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 blah. Religion has, in fact, most of these laws that Republicans are fighting for, they want to pass and all that, it has to do with, number one, the fact that white folks in this country are afraid that they will become a minority, probably by 2050.
Yes, yes.
And they figure through their religion, they're going to pass laws to undermine every other community in America. Maybe even make some people want to leave here because they don't have the, they don't want to do what they're supposed to do, which is have more babies within your community.
Yeah.
So that your population can go up a little bit, so that you don't end up 50 years from now, most of the white population, 60% of them are over the age of 50.
Yes.
While the rest of them are under the age of 50, which means that the labor force, the job market, because those people that are under 50 are not necessarily qualified for the jobs of the future. So they're not going to be getting any job. There are nobody left in the coal mines for you to open up a coal mine and put these people in the countryside in Kentucky or Virginia to go work in a coal mine. And now the jobs of the future are going to be taken over by Africans, Indians, Black folks, Chinese, Mexicans. They can't stand that.
Yudi, Sharia law. People freak out. These churches, these religions, they freak out. Oh, we don't want Sharia law here. What do you think this is?
It is Sharia. It's the same thing.
Afghanistan.
It's the same thing. There's no difference.
Than living in Afghanistan.
They've crowned themselves king. Everything that comes from a Christian perspective is the word of God.
Yeah, Arizona has just passed. The Republican lawmakers approved private school vouchers. In other words, if you want your child to go to a private school, a white private school, we'll give you the money. We'll give you the money. They can go, they don't have to be in public school. But this is just like Dr. Monet said. Bring it on. Please. Let me educate my babies.
Yeah, so you could teach them in the private schools in Texas or Arizona that black people came to America looking for opportunities.
It's Bible schools. That's all they are.
That's what I'm saying. They will teach them that Africans came to America seeking opportunities as opposed to the fact that Africans were enslaved.
But let me say this to you. Many of us Africans who didn't have all the stuff they have in these schools, we still come here and we're the most educated.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not about all of that, all those fancy gadgets and glittering objects. It's about discipline, teaching your child, pay attention, and taking the time to teach them. That's what it's about. Many of us who came from Africa, we didn't have all these things you have in your schools here, and yet we overperform. Let's teach our children how to perform, how to achieve.
No, they teach them how to shoot guns.
You know, we don't want to teach. Yes, they teach them that. We want our children to know how to. Let's go to this discussion. Here's the discussion for today. Okay, this is important. All right, we need to teach our children how to love themselves. That is what our schools should be teaching them.
Yes.
How to love yourself. When you walk into your school, the first thing you need to know is how to love yourself, because they have been so diminished. Our babies are so diminished that are the wallflowers. They are called names. Excuse me, all the N words you could think. That thing brings children down. Our children, when we send them to school, they go and they listen to all of that. When I sent my son to school, my daughters to school, they heard all those negativity.
Yes.
It impacted them.
Yes.
When my daughter, Kelena, who is in Florida, when she wanted to take AP courses, they told her she could not. They kept failing her until she says, "Mom, I don't care if I had to fail trying."
Yes.
But they can't define me. They put my daughter, Kelen Adora, through all kinds of mayhem. Namdi was suffering. I didn't even know it. School was, excuse the expression, hell for them. Our children are learning how to regurgitate nonsense. They're not getting an education. So let's start schools where they will learn to love themselves, where they can like their eyes, their ears, their hands, their bodies, their mouth, their nose, where you can hug them and tell them you matter, where the color of their skin does not matter. It's who they are, the content of their character.
Yes.
Where they can see teachers who look like them. Let us teach them how to be kind and gentle, and stop using all this vile language against each other, speaking ill of their women, talking down to their women. Let's send them to the real school and shower them with love. Let's send them to schools where we compliment them every day, celebrate their victories, honor them, make them feel like they're somebody, tell them the truth about themselves, and help them rise. Let's send them to school, real school, not this nonsense they're attending. And you want to take away from them. You're not taking nothing from them. Let's send them to schools where they can learn commitment, to negotiate with themselves. If they make a mistake, they can renegotiate with themselves. Let's take them to school where they learn how to take care of their own people. That living amongst their own people is not a bad thing. Let's teach them how to reward themselves for achieving. And that being smart is not a bad thing. Let's teach them to tell themselves every single day that they are important, that their mothers are important, their fathers are important, their brothers and sisters are important. Let's take them to real school.
I mean, this is an eye opener to me, or people of African ancestry. And the reason why I say it is this: we are the only people in this country, and I have to deal with what affects my people. I'm not interested in how it affects, those people that made the laws. The white folks. It's not my business. They're passing the laws. They're in the, majority in government. So they control everything. They're the ones with whoever has the gold makes the rules. They're the ones that have the gold and they make the rules. My thing is, in the United States, every human community, call it race if you want to, has a cultural institution.
They do.
Chinese people go to white schools, Japanese do, Indians do, black folks do. You go to school and see all kinds of mix of human, races in there going to school. But each one of these races in America, in particular, they all have a traditional institution that governs their communal behavior.
Yes, yes.
Africans, black folks, we don't have that. The institution that controls our behavior or dictates how we behave is the same institution established by those people that enslaved and colonized us in the first place. Yes. The Chinese have their Buddhist temples over here, Confucianism. The Indians have their Hindu temples. The Sikhs have theirs. Their Shinto temples over here. Every major human community is represented in America via a traditional institution. We are the only ones that depend on the institution forced upon us by those people that continually take away our freedoms. And we go haywire in defense of those that take away our freedom. There is no way that you're going to go in right now in America and see an African temple that attracts tourists or visitors. There's one right here in Atlanta. I think it's some kind of Hindu Buddhist temple right here in Tucker, Georgia. It is so massive. It is so big. You go to California, there's this massive Buddhist temple. It will blow your mind. There are Islamic institutions in America here with mega mosques over here. And for us people of African ancestry, every time we rebel against the forces or those that enslaved us, we run from frying pan to fire. The only place that we seem to want to run to is into Islam. But Muhammad is not from Nigeria. He's not from Kenya.
Yes.
He did nothing for me as a Zulu in South Africa. Why should I run from frying pan to fire? Louis Farrakhan, all these guys, they're my heroes because they say things that affect me, and they, how do you say, they talk about conditions that affect people of African ancestry. They talk about laws that are uneven, that are unfair, that affect me. They talk about crime. They talk about everything that affects me negatively. But in the end, it's under the umbrella of Islam. Why can't it be under the umbrella of some African traditional institution like maybe Chiism?
Yes.
Why do we keep running from things that are authentically African? No other race runs from things that are authentically
But they're telling you right now.
Yes.
They're telling you don't matter.
You know, they don't
have to knock you out for you to understand. You don't matter to them, but
they're doing it right now.
To us.
They continue to tell us that we don't matter, like you said. They continue to give us a reason to become communal, to become Africans, to become, listen, only the Europeans, they're the ones that categorize individuals based on features. Tall, short, fat, thin, light skin, big nose, thin nose, blah, 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 blah. This is how, and everything about them is about the individual. This is how their community is structured too. It's about the individual. It's about you.
Yes.
In African culture, to be an individual, the first thing that we talk about is not your features. We talk about where you came from. How do you fit into that society? Is that society about individuals, or is it a society that is based on communalism, where when the society in general, when the community in general is moving forward and is opulent, you get up there right along with the community. As the community moves, it creates opportunities for you to move. There's a saying that goes, something water rises, the boat rises or whatever. I can't really think about that stuff anymore. You know what it is that they say. But that's how we look at ourselves as a community. So maybe this is an opportunity for us, as people of African ancestry, to start looking at ourselves as far as our community in general is concerned, start paying attention to some of these institutions that are authentically and traditionally African, like every other human community here in the United States, and quite frankly, globally does. Even in Africa itself, there are no big obasionas, there are no big edifices that are built in respect to our ancestors, to our contribution to civilized behavior that teaches us about our history. You can't even find it in the motherland in Africa. We don't have that. When you talk about Africa, the only thing you talk about Africa is what? The pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah.
What about the institutions that existed before the European and the Arab came to our shores with the Bible and the Quran? Are you telling me that we didn't have institutions? We didn't have an educational system. We didn't have political system, medical system. What about African holistic medicine? Who's pushing that? And in the United States, where is Africa here? The only thing I know about Africa when I come to America is they tell me about Harriet Tubman. It's a point in history, but that's not the totality of the Black experience. It's not the totality of Black history. Martin Luther King is not where my history begins as a Black man or Black woman. Rosa Parks is not the end all, for me as a Black person. Even about Oprah Winfrey, the first Black female billionaire, blah, blah, blah. We're more than that. There's more to the African American than our civil rights heroes or our civil rights history. We need to establish institutions here as people of African ancestry that deals with our history, that teaches our children, this generation, about what and who they were before enslavement and colonization, and the contributions that we as people of African ancestry made to civilized behavior. Other communities are doing it. Other communities in the United States and globally have their own primordial cultural institutions that they share with the rest of the world, and the world is just eager to learn about these cultures. We need to do the same. So maybe segregation is an opportunity for us to have some kind of inflection and understand that from these kinds of laws, opportunities will grow and develop.
That's right. That's how it works. Thank you. That's how it works.
Maybe we'll have our own Black Wall Street all over again. Our own institutions circulate our money within our own community. All the money that we spend outside of it, we need to bring it in here so that we could go and gentrify our own neighborhoods, change it so that the Black stars and everybody can move to some Black neighborhood, not make your money and move away and drain the community.
Like Dr. Monet had indicated, let me just back off a little bit. If African people can build and you just leave it alone, just let them keep their thing, we will do fine. It's just that how much of what we achieve is going to be left alone. But let's not focus on that. Let's just do it. Just do it. Just get started. Then protect what you've got. I am not, as far as I'm concerned, I am not shaken by any segregation. Okay? I'm not, unless you're using my tax dollars to benefit others and not allowing my schools. If you segregate us, right? Okay, fine. But just make sure that we have the same thing in our low Black schools that other people have, because our tax dollars are paying for that. But I just want us Black folks to understand, people of color, not just Black folks, people of color, understand that your children do better when they know who they are. They perform better. Assimilation is a good thing to a point. It's a global world, I understand that. But at some point, you're going to have to start teaching your children that what they see in the mirror is a good thing. I was watching a video where this family went to Ghana. Very dark-skinned kids, and they lived in England. Very dark skin, beautiful, glowing skin they have. But they were mocked in England for it. The children were miserable. And the mother and father decided that it wasn't healthy for them to stay where they have to feel bad about who they are.
Yes.
They bought a home. They bought a home. in Ghana, beautiful, with swimming pool, the whole thing. Then they would start interviewing the children. The children said, I've never felt so good in all my life. I matter here. I matter here, she said. Nobody teases me because of my color. Everybody just works. She says she loves her school because, you know, they treat her right and all that kind of stuff. You know, nobody calls her names. The dad says that it's so wonderful to walk down the street and I have to look to see, is the police coming? Who's going to stop me because of my color? So people living in these so-called environments where there's all this assimilation, it's not always very healthy. People are suffering. So if you want to segregate, okay, just give us the same thing you're giving our children will excel. I guarantee you that. When you give them love and attention, they will excel. They will do it.
Yes.
Yeah. This is what we were supposed to be. Okay, I'm going to go back to that in a minute. This is what we're supposed to be talking about today. I got a text from Dibia Chiezo. He went over to his father-in-law's for some issues with the home, and he's going to try and come in when he can, as soon as he can. So it's about 11:11. So, but in the meantime, we were talking about the topic of discussion today was the principles of Uwaezuoke. So when he comes in, he can elaborate. But there are some key points in this whole concept of Uwaezuoke that I just want us to kind of touch upon, each one of us. Okay, self-management is one of the key things we talked about. Self-management,
yes.
and self-management is of yourself, taking responsibility for your own behavior and well-being. All these things that are going on, it's impacting our sense of self-management because we're thinking somebody else has to help us to manage ourselves. But I don't think so. If you go to an African community, children as little as 3, as little as 4, you see them selling things, developing business minds. They're not restricted. They're taught that you have a responsibility to do certain things, to be somebody. Your behavior is important, all of that kind of stuff. Let's speak on that. You and Dr. Monet, self-management. Let's just speak on that. You know, just take a quick second, about a minute to speak on that because we have other topics along those lines. Okay, go ahead, Judy. Can you hear me? You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. Self-management, the meat of it is really this. How does that impact the community as a whole? It's not about you. How does my conduct, how the way I live my life, things that I do, how do I contribute to the good of the whole? That's what this is really all about. Let me read something to you real quick. The precarious nature of human life and the general social disorder that characterize human society is a human creation. A good human community requisite for human well-being is equally, not naturally, but man-made. This type of community is made possible by the conscious, deliberate, and conscientious efforts and activities of a good person, or what I have called, or what they call authentic personhood. You're talking about the notion of authentic personhood in Igbo traditional thought, and the argument is that the qualities and values of authentic personhood creates the wholesome human relationship and environment necessary for societal cohesion and for the well-being of everybody in the community. So your conduct is not just about yourself. Self-reliance that Dibia just talked about, self-esteem, self-comportment, the way you conduct yourself, your contentment, your self-reliance, all that stuff has to do with how your behavior impacts the community. If the community is good, that construct is man-made. If the community is bad, that construct is also man-made. So the cohesiveness and the opulence and the good or bad of the society is really based on your conduct as a person. That's really what this stuff is really all about. So you're not just some individual on your own doing your own thing like they do in the West. You're an individual part of the society, and it is your conduct that is going to determine whether this community is livable or not.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Monet. Your comment about self-management.
Self-management. We have to, when we're talking about the African people or the African, because, you know, a lot of this ties into what applies to other people don't really apply to us. And what we have to realize is for so many years, that's why for me, segregation, I don't have a problem with it because we can get back to self-management, the proper self-management, because we will be controlling, we can control our media, we can controlling our media, controlling the everything, we're controlling our education, we're controlling, so that's controlling our self-image of how we view ourselves, controlling what goes out in the media, not allowing negative things to impact our children and our community of who we are, allowing other people to define who we are and get back to who we really are as African people, as communal people, and being able to grow and develop our environment. We have been for so many years attacked when it came to our self-image. Mm-hmm. We have been given a self-image of who we are that is not true. Mm-hmm. It's not true at all. Mm-hmm. Why is it of all of the people that Biden could have interviewed, why did he interview Cardi B? Why did he do that? To represent the Black woman? That doesn't represent the Black woman, but it's perceived that this is, when you look on TV, those reality shows, that is not the Black woman. That is not the average Black woman, but that is what.
I'm glad you said that.
And that is what is, and Black men, the way Black men are depicted. A lot of things that has happened in slavery is happening a different way now, and how we're being attacked. And that's through media. That is through the way that we're being depicted, and other cultures depict us. Mm-hmm. I have a friend from India, and I invited her to my cousin's baby shower, and she said, "Oh wow, this is like a Indian baby shower." And I said, "What do you mean?" Now she's met my family. My family is very, they're educated, they're professional, they're conservative, they're and I think a lot of Black families are. But her depiction of how the majority of Black people should act is like Atlanta Housewives or what was depicted on TV. And so she said, "Oh wow, I can't believe it. You're pretty much civilized." Yep. And so if they're depicting us that way, how are we depicting ourselves? We don't have a self-image. Mm-hmm. And without a self-image, we cannot manage ourselves. Yeah. The sexualization of Black women and men has gone on since slavery. We've been raped, men and women were raped. And everything else. We were sold as mistresses, or to white men. There was Black women that every year they would sell that Black woman to one of the white men. A lot of times they call them, I guess, quadroons or mulattoes, the fair skinned or the biracial women, and have them every single year in a different man's house, different white man's house, and depicted. And then there was another thing that they did in the summertime. They would have the white men come and impregnate and have their way with all of the black women on the plantation. And that narrative is something that our oppressor wants to keep. So the images of Cardi B and all these women over sexualized in media is the same thing they're doing as when in slavery, when we were used as sexual objects. And they want our community, and media is very strong. They want our community to buy into that, and we have bought into that, and it is affecting our community. That we are not having, some children, young people or just people at all, are diminishing their standards based on what they're seeing on TV, in media, on the radio. We need to take that back.
Yes.
Stop allowing, and who is making these decisions? Because they can make a decision to have people that are positive, giving out positive messages about Black people in the media. But that is not what is going on. What is going on is they'll have that person, the least of our community, the least of us, that will represent who we are. And that is not who we are. That is not the majority of who we are, or anything like that. And no other culture will have their people, their women, or even their men, depicted in that light. We're the only ones that that allows that, and they know that they can do that to us because we don't have enough self-image of who we really are as African people.
That's right.
We have to have our own institutions.
You do. That's
just have to.
My brother always says it all the time. Sometimes you say things and you don't know the impact it has. And he says it all the time. I'm going to say that again. If you allow yourself to be insulted, you will be. You will be.
Yes.
And that's why, like, if you want respect, you have to respect yourself. Nobody's going to respect you unless you respect yourself. When we talk about naming self-management, if you get into an altercation with an Igbo person, they say to you, "Marako onwego, Marako onwego." In other words, you better take control of your behavior. Yes. Because you're expected to be in control. And the way you're acting, you're not in control. So they say, "Maro onwegi, know yourself." Then the other aspect of our topic today is self-reliance. I mean, there's an African word for all these things. To be responsible for your own, to create your own resources, to be in charge, to rely on your own powers to create your resources, not rely on others to do it. Help yourself. Not yeah, maybe that could be the case. But for the most part, they ask you, do for yourself. What you want, go and do it. Go and do it. You don't need people to do it for you. The people who are doing it for you, they're not going to respect you. They're not going to respect you if they're the ones doing it for you. So go and do it for yourself. As a respect. Yes, respect.
Yes.
Respect yourself. Yes.
Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
Respect.
You do for yourself. Don't wait for others to do it for you. They're not going to do it for you. And if they do it for you, they're going to expect that there's always a payback. When somebody's the one doing everything for you, there will always be payback. So let's talk about self-esteem. Self-esteem. Where is your self-esteem? That's having healthy regards and beliefs about yourself and your ability to do things, relating to your inner divinity.
Yes.
We got that. We have all of that, but it's just all been singled out, cut out. They've put everything in a book. Now, if you want to have be self-reliant, self-management, self-esteem, you got to know this book. If you don't know this book and whatever it is they put in it, whatever it is that's in it that has nothing to do with you, then you're the devil. Don't even open your mouth and say you don't read the Bible. Look, I'm not. I let people understand. I am not anti none of that stuff. Because for some people, this is how they live. This means a lot to them. The Bible means a lot to some people. The Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, etc., etc. Don't call me. Everybody has something that takes them to that place, that spiritual place. But it doesn't mean that everybody has to believe in it. And if they don't believe in it, it doesn't make them the devil. We keep bringing people's self-esteem down, and then we wonder why they act the way they act. Somebody, come on, speak on that.
I'm going to let me channel Dr. Henry Clark. And he says that those things that sustained us must be continued. If you go to Brandeis University, you find that you're attending a school built by Jews for the best interest of Jews, and it will stay that way. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to go to the institution the way it is, it's all well and good. You're welcome. But if you want to change it, you got trouble. They didn't change one iota to suit anybody, right? All people tell stories that make them feel good about themselves. But we tell somebody else's story. Telling your own story is where your self-esteem lies, because you channel your ancestors and you talk about your contributions to civilized behavior. You stand on your history and you prop up your chest and you beat it. You feel good. We're not beating our chest, not as individuals. Now, you can have self-esteem for accomplish something individually, but how does your accomplishment affect the community in general? You can accomplish something on your own. Listen, you could be a drug dealer, pull yourself from the bootstraps, deal some cocaine and make you millions of dollars, drive your Rolls Royce, live in a big mansion. But how does pulling yourself from your bootstrap, how does that rumple social harmony? How does that affect the community in general? That's what this topic is all about. It's all the individual characteristics needed that makes you who you are based on how it contributes to the opulence and the prosperity of the community. Like Dibia said, I'm not against Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and all that stuff. All humans have the right to worship God the way they understand best without bitterness. As Africans, we have the same right too. I can't feel guilty and feel bad for being a Black man. I can't feel bad and guilty for embracing my own culture. It's my primordial core. That's how God made me. All roses are not red. Yellow rose, red rose, white rose, pink rose, whatever rose you got out there, they're all roses. Why should other people have the right to extol themselves, to be proud of their culture, to be proud of their community, to be proud of their historical contribution to civilization? Why is it that when I, as an African, talk about my Africanness, it's a problem? Not just to people outside of me, But to my own African brothers and sisters, if I don't justify my worth by somebody else's standards, you dump all over me. You talk bad about me simply because I'm not towing the boat. Simply because I'm not being what I am not. I'm not European. European history has nothing to do with me as an African. Migration didn't start from England and come down to West Africa. He came from Central Africa and went all over the world. The Aborigines are descendants of the first Africans in Central Africa, the Aborigines of Australia, the Black Mongolians in Asia, the Olmecs over here in North America. What is wrong with being authentically who you are? What is wrong with your self-esteem? Why do you feel that everything about you is bad? Your hair is curly, it's bad. Now you want to straighten it. To build your self-esteem based on somebody else's definition of what beauty is. Why do I need eyelashes that make me look like some kind of extraterrestrials that are this long because I'm trying to look European? Why my hair got to be so long? Why am I bleaching my skin? To be something that I'm not. Black people come in all shades and colors. Caramel, dark chocolate, light chocolate, light skin, hell, almost white. You name it, we got all kinds of shade being black. Albinos too. A black man and a black woman can come together and create an albino, create a white person. A white person can't come together and create a black person. It's not going to happen. There's a lot about you as an African for you to be proud of. Your self-esteem has to be based on your contribution to civilized behavior, your naturally given endowment by Chineke. You cannot feel any less as a person. And what you feel about yourself and how you conduct yourself must have a positive impact on the society so that the generations coming up can see you as an example, can see you as somebody that they want to become. There's nothing wrong with your thick lips. Some white women now shooting up their lips so that it could be as thick as yours. I know white people now with afros. Bring back the 70s for crying out loud. At least I saw a whole lot of brothers and sisters with African features, and they're Jamaican, they're African American, they're Haitians, they're black folk from all over the world looking African, just the way God made us. Your self-esteem should not be dependent on how somebody else defined you. And they defined you so that you could feel inferior. And we have now adopted or assimilated that definition of who we are. We're no longer Kunta Kinte. We're now Toby. We're no longer Ngozi. We're now Blessed. We take African names and we interpret them to their English equivalent and we wear it as pride. That is not self-esteem. When you look down on your natural endowment and you feel that that is inferior to the European, or that what God gave you naturally is inferior to any other human race, that is not self-esteem. Going to church every Sunday and praying to a God that doesn't look like you is not self-esteem. It doesn't add to your self-esteem. Doing things that are not African does not add to your self-esteem. The European does European things. The Englishman prides himself in his pomposity.
Yes.
Damn, I sound pompous, don't I? Pomposity. The French, they do all those kinds of things. They have these characteristics that they push to the world. They wear their little beret and all that. The Japanese samurai with his sword. The Chinese with their kung fu. People, based on their self-esteem, how they feel about themselves, do things that are traditional and culturally relevant and primordial to their core. We, as people of African ancestry, we have to do the same thing because it impacts the esteem or self-esteem of our communities. Makes you feel like you have something to contribute, so that people can come and learn from you. Talk about your concept of God. Being African is just not your color and the clothing you wear and the food you eat. The core of what you are comes from a human system, and that human system is called religion.
Yudi.
Yes.
You know the story. Thank you very much. You know the story of Ndagarabi.
Yeah.
We are nothing but a bunch of Ndagarabi. Let me tell you that story. Ndagarabi is folklore using the turtle as the main character. The turtle married three wives. And one day he wanted to know how much he's appreciated by his wives. So he faked that he was dead. He laid down on his back and faked like he was dead. All the other wives looked at him and said, please, if he's dead, I guess I can marry somebody else. I'll live my life. I don't have to be here with him. But the one wife said, my husband, oh my goodness. And she's doing everything, trying to get him up and all that stuff. And he finally got up. And then he said, this is my real wife. The rest of you go. It's the same thing with us. We're not but a bunch of Ndagarabi.
Right.
The Europeans. Everybody trying to tell us, oh, let's see how you're going to act. Then the Negroes will say, oh, my Lord, you can't, I can't leave you. I can't leave you. You're watching the other people move on. The Chinese don't move on. That's the one wife. Then the Asians, that's one wife. Then you have the Mexicans, that's one wife. But the black wife, that's the one that's holding on. Ndagarabi. Ndagarabi now. Paradia, checkboom, cherinda, oriquadogo, adia, checkboom, cherinda, oriquadogi, bodia, checkboom, cherinda, dimuamalo, checkboom, cherinda. That's the song of Ndagarabi. The other one are saying, look at you. Look at you. You're fawning over this man. He doesn't give you any money, doesn't give you anyone. As for us, hey, if we're not without him, we'll move on. So the other races have moved on and built, the Indians, everything, build up. But we, the Ndagarabis, we're still fighting over.
Give me.
Remember that story. The next time somebody's fighting over a culture that's not theirs, that culture is the turtle.
Yes.
And you are the Ndagarabi, the wife. Remember the story.
Yep.
Move on. Now, this is not, we're not talking about men in general. It's just, we're just using this as an example. It's not, if your husband is sick, please do not leave you. Don't say Dr. Simiri said if your husband is sick, leave you. No, that's not what I said.
Yeah, please clarify the way we are. Next thing you know, Dr. Simiri said.
In real life, if your husband is sick, you got to be there. That's your husband. I'm talking about you affiliating yourself with something, a structure that doesn't care about you.
Yes.
While everybody else have left, you're there.
Yes.
Don't be Ndagarabi. So you guys need to know that from now on. So there's the other one is a self-comportment, which has to do with the manner that we conduct ourselves. The definition of comportment is behavior. The way you act and carry yourself. I was watching a show the other day, when you carry yourself in a very regal and proud manner, that's an example of your comportment. And guess what? People don't understand this. If you carry yourself with pride and dignity, other people respect that. But if you want to acquiesce with everything, to be loved, they don't respect that. And then you ask yourself, I'm good. I do everything right. Why don't they like me? I don't bother anybody. Why is it the squeaky wheel that makes the most noise? Why is it the one that gets all the attention? Because the way you conduct yourself to show that you have pride in who you are. I was watching a program the other day, and you can check it out, how how Asians view Black women. Check it out today. And their admiration, unbelievable. Even one of the Asian women was looking at herself like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I look like that? Because of how these very dark-skinned women all of a sudden carry themselves. Because, see, sometimes when they take that wool out of your eyes, you can see clearly. That song, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Yes, see all the obstacles in your way. You see what I'm saying? When you open your eyes and you see, a white woman is a beautiful spirit. No, let's be honest. They're beautiful. An Asian woman is beautiful. A Mexican woman is beautiful. Everybody's beautiful. And so are you.
Yes.
Yep.
If you have the right attitude about who you are, other people respect that. There's a white woman who adopted a little black child. And everybody was just telling her how in the world, a black child deserves to be in a white home. Never mind that the black folks did not adopt this black child, right?
Exactly.
Okay? So she goes and advises, adopts this child, and people are saying, oh my God, this child needs, she has kinky hair. What are we going to do? Are you going to press out the hair and all that? She said, no. Just because I'm her white mother doesn't make her a white child. She's a black woman. She will grow up to be a black woman. I'm not touching her hair. I will grease it. I will comb it out. I will braid it, and she knows how to braid. She says because she realizes it. When you change the structure of her hair, you're changing her. She's studying she's reading her books for black children and all of that. I say this to say, what we instill in our children is how they're going to carry themselves.
Yes.
You're not going to carry yourself when you have your hair is natural and you just slicked and oiled and greased to the, to the side, laid to the side. You're still saying something is wrong. You're still saying something is wrong. Have a healthy hair. Wash it, brush it out, comb it out. Find African styles for that kinky hair. But when you start slicking it, you are saying something about who you are. And guess what? You carry yourself. When you go out there, look at me, woo, I got blonde hair. Look at me, woo, I got long hair. That ain't you. You're saying you're not good enough.
Look like a freak half the time.
Naturally, if you have natural long hair, slick, silky hair, then that's you. That's who you are. But when you start changing, they have children as little as 3, and they're pressing out their hair. Hey, little black girl saying, I don't want to be black. I don't like my hair. I got kinky hair. I got nappy hair. What? I want my hair to be like hers. At 3 years old, this child has already formed an opinion about who she is, and that is she's not good enough. And who's helping that? Mom.
Yes.
Mom is the one slicking her hair. Just grease, just grease. Make her hair soft with grease, whatever appropriate grease. Brush it out. Put her in her little African little hairdo. And tell her, oh my God, you're gorgeous. You can never say enough to a child. You can never say enough. You adults, when somebody tells you look pretty, you can't stand yourself after that. Nobody can tell you anything. That outfit that somebody said, oh, you look so good, and then you just hang it up and wear it again over and over and over. You don't throw that away because somebody said you look good in it. We love to be, what's the word? We love to be complimented. It is not a compliment when we put something on that is not a reflection of who we are. Yes. Go to an Asian store. Just go just to see your people. Just walk in there and see what we're buying. all this stuff for the hair, all the fake hair, fake this, fake that. But I'm not, hey, I'll be honest, I used to wear fake hair too before, but I had to wait, I had to outgrow that. Sometimes we have to outgrow it. We have our feel of it and we realize, well, you know what? First of all, this is not me. You just kind of wake up one morning and look at yourself and say, no, that's not.
And it's expensive.
And it's expensive, that you just say, I'm done with this. I am who I am. If you don't like it, see, but that's the thing about self-esteem. That's a thing about self-acceptance. When you accept yourself, it doesn't matter what people think about you anymore. It doesn't matter. But when you don't accept yourself, when you need to be validated by being fake and all of that stuff, you don't have good self-esteem. Yes, sir, Dr. Monet.
Yeah, I was saying, with my daughters, and I did, I do checks. I try to check to see where they are, as far as their self-image, because that is so important. And so, I'll, put Afro puffs in their hair, and they go to a predominantly Arabic school. So the kids have different hair. A lot of the kids have different hair. But even more, I have to instill in them their self-image, that they're beautiful, how they feel that. My 7-year-old, how, your hair is beautiful, isn't it? And she'll say, yes, I have the most beautiful hair, and I'll say that to my younger daughter, my 4-year-old. And, I, like you were saying, I try to keep them in natural styles so that they understand that their hair is beautiful. So I may put Afro puffs, or we'll do braids or something like that. And, I have them go to their dad and he'll say, oh, you girls look so beautiful. You look so gorgeous, because we're trying, how you look is fine. Your hair is beautiful the way it is. Your kinky hair. Even my 7-year-old, she wants to, usually I'll put it in ponytails, but she just wants to wear her natural hair out. We'll wash it and she just wants to wear it just like that. But nothing is wrong with that. Where we go wrong a lot of times is, a lot of, and I know growing up, hearing a lot of Black women, they will add hair. Oh, she has good hair. That hair is straighter, is better than the hair that's kinky. We will, and then you start processing that at an early age and thinking that a more European look is a more beautiful look, when that from the truth. So it starts from home, and we have to instill that self-esteem and self-image in both ourselves and our children.
That's right. I want to, because time is, let's see what time we've got. There's something I want to share. We have a quarterly newspaper now. Hey, can I get it back? And let me share that with you. But it's not quite filled, but I'm going to be soliciting writings. People can do columns, and we send it out to different organizations about what we're doing. Sometimes people don't even want to go to, it's not enough to send people to the web page. Sometimes they just want something they can open as they're drinking coffee and, that sort of thing. So we're going to have, let me share that with you. And I need writers. That's what I'm saying. I need writers. So if you have Akachi, are you listening? You're there. Dr. Monet, you write. In other words, we'll feature your articles with your picture in it. But let me see. Let me share that with you. So you share screen. I'm sharing screen. I hope I can find it. Let's see. Okay. This is what it's going to look like. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Not yet. Okay, there we go.
Okay. So it's Chiism Today. That's the name of our quarterly newspaper. All right. Let me see. Okay. Is the name of our quarterly newspaper. Then, for instance, we have the lecture tidbits by Dibia Chiezo. He sends me, pardon me, he's always sending me little articles, so that will be featured there. Here, I'm going to be doing one, and it's got many pages. Whatever it is that you write, I am going to put it here. And then we have.
I'll send you one today.
Okay, then we have news today. Some whatever. I need writers. Akachi, you have been selected as one of the writers, and I'm making it public so you can't get away from it. Okay.
I got you. Say you put me on the spot, but I saw her emojis, so she's very tickled by it.
Yeah, well,
the emojis.
You be very careful to be very good.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what you guys like. Is that exciting?
Yes.
It's absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Yes.
It should be to
yes.
a community.
Okay. Yes, Namdi, Adora. I need articles, and I also want to thank those of you who have made. I don't know what my screen is kind of freezing. Vicky, okay, Vicky Jenkins is a writer. Yes. So we've got Akachi, we've got Vicky, we've got Yudi, we got Dr. Monet. We have, and it doesn't have to be a whole page. It could be any topic that's of interest to you that you think us as African people should know about. It will be featured. So how many that's I've got 6 writers now, right? Yeah, 6, because I write as well. So we've got 6. But we want more because it's a big newspaper. It's every quarter. So this particular, the one I'm going to send out will be in right before our conference. Well, the conference is in September, so it'll be August. So right before the conference in September, this article will this newspaper. It's big. It's several pages. So I need it right now so I can have it all done and ready to get out, because it's going to have information about the conference that we're going to have. Now, one more thing I want to say about that conference, please, if you know anyone that's of a different religion, please, maybe it's a pastor, an imam, a bishop, or whomsoever, we want this to be, we want to include everyone. But if you know people who are members of an African spiritual order, Ifa religion, I have somebody who's an Ifa priestess, so she's going to be on it. Queen Mother Shundara was an Ifa priestess as well, so she would have been one of them. As a matter of fact, I had talked to her a long time ago about that. Not a long time ago, actually, a year before she passed away, that I would like her to be a speaker for this conference. So, but if you know somebody who's a member of an African spiritual order, who's a priest of sorts, I need that name. All right. And so that's that. So you like that, okay? Now, thank you for those of you. Namdi and Adora, they know how to write. Namdi, you're a good writer. I'm going to need an article from you from whatever perspective you want to come. Adora, the same thing. Kelena, I mean, hey, we're all writers because we have a whole bunch of. It's about 4 pages, so I need to fill that. I don't dictate what you write, but just keep it civil, of course, and make it relevant, right? Take any topic and write about it. So I'm expecting that you're going to be sending me a lot of information very shortly. Okay. Now, well, he did not join us today for whatever reasons. Maybe he didn't get an opportunity to get out there. So I'm going to ask Dibia Chiezo to give us an ending statement because we only have 6 minutes left. So you have 2 minutes.
Yeah. This is really, for our condition globally to improve.
Yeah.
There has to be self-love among us all. I, as a Nigerian, an Igbo person from Nigeria, I am no different from Dr. Simona Ajamo. We share the same ancestry. For all I know, she could have come from my village. There's nothing about me that is different from a Jamaican. Any of these Jamaicans out here could have come from my village. Haitian, the African American, the British, Black. Wherever we are globally, as people of African ancestry, we are one and the same. How we carry ourselves and how we see ourselves is going to determine how others see us. In the United States, I don't see them messing with a lot of Muslims. And yet, when you look at America, you would think that their greatest enemy are Muslims. Iraqis, Iranians, Saudi Arabians, and all that. They don't seem to mess with people that profess their cultural originality and embrace it. I don't see them running around here. You know how many Chinese people you see in the news being messed with by police? Mm-hmm. Now, you may have Chinese people get messed with by some people in the street because of some kind of political thing that happened, and now they're taking it out. I think when the COVID thing happened, you know, the ignorant people blamed the Chinese for COVID, and so they see Chinese people in the street and they attack them. But beyond such ignorance, you don't see none of that stuff. Europeans seem to respect people that stand on their own culture. When India was colonized for hundreds of years, what kept them from really getting to the Indians was the Indian culture and their religion, Hinduism. China, the same thing. When Chinese people, 2 million of them that were sent to England, were ordered to cut their locks, what did the Chinese do? The Chinese simply told the British, you will have to kill us all because we're not going to cut our locks. That's who we are. That's a representation of who we are. We are the same, no matter where you come from. As long as you're a Black man, you're an African. That's Peter Tosh from Jamaica. Reggae music. I love that stuff. We are all brothers and sisters. We need to embrace our culture, see ourselves as one, comport ourselves like we have pride in who God made us. Only if we do that are we going to have people stop looking at us negatively. Only when we do that will the next generation have some pride in who they are. They will love their thick lips and love their nose and love their eyes and love their hair. They will love their skin tone, color. They will love everything about themselves, just like other cultures do. When you have things that are not relevant today, you jettison those things, but you don't throw the baby out with the bath water. I'm Black and I'm proud. I'm African. I cannot have it any other way. And I hope that you all feel the same way as I do. Yeah, guys.
We say, Dr. Monet.
Yes, I would like to say and give a reference to what was talked about today. And we all have to learn the, the Igbo concept of self-reliance. And when we talk about self-reliance, we have to know that we as African people are still reliant on our oppressor. And so we have to learn how to get outside of that and learn who we are as African people. And so I think it's very important for us to understand who we are so that we are able to rely on ourselves. Relying on ourselves will create sustainability for ourselves, and we'll be able to take care of ourselves and not look to our oppressor or other cultures to take care of us. And actually, we are taking care of ourselves because we're giving them our resources, our monies, our soul, because we're involved in many of their religious traditions and things like that. And so how about we take a look at how it is to be African and where we came from? How about we study about the God of our ancestors and the ancestors, and see how we can get back to being a community, being one, and being African.
That's right. Thank you so much. I want to thank every one of you for joining us for another spirited discussion today. Unfortunately, our lecturer is not able to be here today. He did have an emergency with family and something that has to do with the house, and He apologizes for not being here. But if I can leave you with my own perspective, that is that we must begin the process of self-contentment. We must be content with who we are. If you're not content, nobody can define you but yourself. Because when people define you, it's not going to be the way you want to be defined. It will be on their terms. So let us create our own terms. Let us not panic when we're segregated against. Instead, we ask ourselves, if not this, then what? And usually what happens when you take responsibility for yourself, you'll find that you travel further, you do better. Your self-esteem is high. Your self-reliance become magnified. Your self-esteem is high, your self-comportment, how you carry yourself all of a sudden changes. And then you derive at the most important part of it, your self-contentment. So let us be content to be people of color. Let us respect other people's race, because this is not about putting anybody down. If you don't want to be put down, then you put other people down. But what's important is that you raise yourself, raise your own standards, accept who you are so you can move accordingly. Thank you for all of you who wrote. Let me thank Vicky Jenkins for your donation. We got your donation. Thank you very much. And I want to thank all of you who have volunteered. And if you haven't volunteered, you have to volunteer to be around. Because let's not talk about it, guys. Let's be about it. It's going to take us to make this happen. So thank you, Yagazie, as my dear friend Ukuna Charles says. Everyone, have a fantastic day. If you have fufu, invite me. I will come and eat. Go and enjoy your day. Love those babies. Hug them. Yeah, look at those African babies and give them a big hug and tell them you're okay and nothing wrong with you. You're just fine.
Yes.
And so it is. You guys all have a wonderful and
yes.
Yeah, guys. Yeah.
See you later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Anyị na-eto Chineke onye kere ụwa. Anyị na-eto Chineke eke kere ụwa. Anyị na-eto Chineke onye kere ụwa. Anyị na-eto Chineke eke kere ụwa. Maka ihe ọma niile o mere anyị. Anyị ekele Chineke. Anyị ekele onye kere ụwa maka ihe o mere anyị.